Okay, good morning, good morning, good morning. Let's see, we're good many of us are here bright and early on this Tuesday morning, I guess it is, March 8th. Can y'all believe it? Golly, we're already halfway through the semester. So y'all have had a couple of weeks to be working on your project and take your midterm, the little extra time y'all had that everybody could get together when we'd normally be meeting. Do we have any questions right now? Any observations, questions, anything y'all like me to answer before we get into the lesson? Everybody's on top of it. Grades are looking pretty good. Y'all are doing well. Great class. Anybody? Maybe not awake yet. I thought maybe the electric slide would get y'all to hopping a little bit. And before that, Jay Boog, I thought that usually does get my students going. So I don't know, maybe y'all are just a little tired today. All right, so what we're going to talk about today is marketing in the digital age, which is what y'all are all going to be subject to once you get out of this Cal State Long Beach and find a job. Almost every company you could possibly work for, whether it's healthcare or insurance companies, whatever it happens to be, are marketing, because they have to let people know they're out there, and they're ready to take on clients and do their thing. So marketing in the digital age is one of the most inexpensive ways typically to do marketing, and it gets the information out there, and it's just something you really need to know about. I know a lot of you are already marketing yourself, in the digital. I know on LinkedIn and on a number of other of these different social media platforms, you're already making a name for yourself. And this is a good time for me to just give my little 2-minute spill on be careful what you put out there on the internet, because once it's there, it is there. There's lots of stories of people who have done something a little foolish, and then took it down immediately. But because there's always somebody out there scanning the internet looking for information, it may have got saved somewhere, or, there's just all kinds of things that could happen as a result of it. So I'm going to tell you just one little story that I know about for sure. My daughter was at Stanford, and one of her good friends was about to be admitted to med school. They were graduating, and she was on her 21st birthday. They were at this place called Miyoki's in somewhere in the Stanford area, Palo Alto or somewhere up there. And at Miyoki's, what they do is that you stand on a table on your 21st birthday and you drink shots, and everybody's pounding on the table and and making a lot of noise and egging you on. And so anyway, someone took a video of her standing on this, and this girl was a straight A student at Stanford. She had everything going for her. But whatever this med school was, and I don't know which one it was, they have people they hire to scour the web to see if the people that they're putting into the program are the caliber that they want. And somehow they got hold of this link of where she was standing on this table, drinking and kind of making a spectacle of herself. And they withdrew her admission to the med school. So you need to be very, very careful. And I've had similar stories happen with people with jobs where they've been offered a job, and then something's been found on the internet that they did that was not what the company wanted in their employees, and so they lost the job offer. So be very, very careful. Don't put anything on the internet that you wouldn't want your grandmother to see. It's just because the companies now hire these consultants who all they do is search the internet all day long, and they're good at it. Okay, we're now up to 24, 23 people. So here's what we're going to talk about today: the internet, digital marketing. First, I'm going to show y'all a little video about marketing in the digital age. Then we're going to go over we're going to hit the high points in the PowerPoint. Then we're going to talk about the Internet of Things. And the Internet of Things was talked a little bit about in your book. I've got a video to show you. Then we're going to do a little discussing about it. And then if we have time, I'm going to let y'all go to your rooms for a few minutes and do any last minute touches that y'all need to do. I believe that your social media information is due on Sunday. The PowerPoint that you're going to use and your social media document, that your one-page document describing the social media. Do we have any questions on that? No?
I have a question.
Hi, go ahead, Brandon.
Okay, Brandon, shoot.
So I know you said we have to comment on each group. Does that mean just one person per group will upload the one-page summary, the leader?
That's correct. Just the leader will upload the summary to the website and to Beachboard and to the Dropbox.
Got it. Thank you.
And then the PowerPoint that you'll be using will upload only to Dropbox.
Okay.
Okay. I had someone else, I didn't see who it was, ask a question.
Oh, that was Christine, but Brandon asked the question that I had. Thank you,
Well,
Brandon.
it must have been on everybody's mind then. Okay, any other questions? So again, one person uploads this. I know with the contracts and the reviews and stuff, I have everybody do it. That's just because I want to be sure that everybody's in agreement. But when it comes to this information, just one person. Okay. All right. Let me go up here and put this this video on. I hope. Okay, and where is it? Never does it go easily. Okay, hang on one second. Let's see. Where'd you go? What's going on with this thing? Okay. All right, let me try this again. There you go.
It is, how it works,
it.
as well as diving into some of the most proven and effective digital marketing strategies available today. Let's get to it. Hey there, my name is Adam Earhart, Modern Marketing Strategist, and welcome to the Modern Marketing Show, where we help you generate more leads, customers, and sales by making better marketing. So if you're interested in learning the latest and greatest marketing strategies, tools, tips, tricks, and tactics, well, you may want to consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. Alright, so let's talk digital marketing. Specifically, in this episode, we're going to be pulling back the curtain on what is arguably one of the most complicated and yet significant and most powerful aspects of running a business, and that is digital marketing. By the end of this episode, you're going to leave with not only a better understanding of what digital marketing is and how it all works, but actually how it applies in the real world, because theory and academic stuff and all that kind of book knowledge is nice to have, and it can play a role in helping you form a foundation and base knowledge, but it's a completely different story when we take all those concepts and theories and we actually apply them in the real world. And that's what I want to help you with here. But before we dive into the theoretical and academic stuff, as well as the practical and actual applications of digital marketing, first we need to decode what exactly we're talking about here. After all, when it comes to digital marketing, there is no lack of confusion, and I blame myself as a marketer for being part of the problem. After all, we're infamous for using complicated jargon and technical words like SEO, PPC, CTA, CTR, and I could go on with dozens and dozens more. To make matters worse, people often associate digital marketing with complex online software, coding, or these really complicated funnels that take teams of dozens and dozens of people just to keep running. No wonder there's still so much confusion around it, and so many otherwise very smart and savvy business owners still avoid it. Now, of course, digital marketing does have some more complicated and technical aspects involved, but that doesn't mean you need to know what every single one of them is and how to do them all. In fact, even just a broad or general understanding of all the different pieces will allow you to thrive in today's digital marketplace. Because at the end of the day, digital marketing is actually a pretty simple concept. But before we dive into all the specifics, first a quick shout out to this episode's sponsor, Charity Swipes. Charity Swipes has created a way for business owners to help charities, but without costing them a penny. Just like Square or PayPal, Charity Swipes is a credit card processing company. The difference is when your business takes a payment, a portion of the processing fee, which normally goes to Visa or MasterCard, is instead directed towards a charitable organization. Best part is, Charity Swipes guarantees to provide you with a lower rate than you currently pay to take cards. So if you want to start saving money while also helping charitable organizations, make sure to check out the link in the descriptions below. Alright, so let's get back to it. What exactly is digital marketing? Well, brace yourself for this one, but digital marketing is just marketing done digitally. Yep, that's kind of it. Meaning, the same concepts and principles and theories that apply when marketing your business, well, these are all going to be applied but done on digital platforms like social media, through email, and other online channels. Basically, if you're using a digital platform to communicate your business's value to your customers, then you, my friend, are digital marketing. So how does digital marketing work? Well, the reality, like we just covered, is that digital marketing works much the same way as offline or traditional marketing does. In fact, when you hear somebody talking about digital marketing, they're referring more to the tools and the digital and online aspect of those tools rather than the underlying strategy behind it, which should always be formed on foundational and really marketing fundamentals. So now that we've got that covered, that digital marketing is really just marketing done with digital tools, well, what are the best tools available and the best way to make digital marketing work for you? Well, the very first step when it comes to creating an effective digital marketing strategy is to first identify your market. You see, this is going to be the same whether we're talking traditional or digital marketing, but the first step is always in identifying that target market, that ideal customer or prospect or potential person that you really want to connect with. Now, the reason this is such a foundational piece of an overall strategic campaign is because without the right person in mind, well, nothing else is really going to matter. So spend a little bit of time and do some digging into your ideal target market. What are their demographic details, like their age, gender, income, occupation, things of that nature? Also, what are their geographic details? Where do they live? What city, state, province, country, things like that. And lastly, and maybe most importantly, what are their psychographic details? Things like their attitudes, interests, opinions, and behaviors. The better you're able to form a really clear picture of who your ideal market is, well, the more effective your digital marketing strategy, or marketing strategy in general, is going to be. Alright, so once you've got your market clearly identified, it's time to move on to step 2, message. Now, when it comes to creating a really effective message, one of the things that I like to advise is that you take a look at your clients or your customers, basically the market that you've just identified, well, take a look at their miracles and miseries. Their miracles are going to be things like their wants and their needs, their goals and their dreams. Again, the better you understand your market, well, the better you're going to understand their miracles. And ideally, your business is going to be the one that's positioned to deliver those miracles for them. The flip side of that, of course, is their miseries. What are their fears, their frustrations, their pains, their nightmares, and all the things they're trying to avoid? Again, step 2 is going to be pretty much the same whether we're talking traditional or digital marketing. And the third step is media. And this is where things really differentiate between traditional and digital marketing, because it's here that we're going to be making the choice for which platform we're going to be using to communicate our message with our market. Now, when we're talking about traditional media, we're talking about things like the newspaper, or the radio, or direct mail, or any form of print, really. Digital, on the other hand, is going to include things like social media, online video, email marketing, online pay-per-click advertising, things of that nature. Where things get really exciting though, and where digital marketing is such an effective overall strategy to deploy, is that, well, pretty much everyone, regardless of age or gender or income or occupation, pretty much everyone is online these days, which means that no matter who you're trying to reach, you can reach them with digital marketing. Not only that, but digital marketing also has some other benefits above traditional marketing, namely the fact that the targeting is just so dialed in with digital platforms. Also, the time to get data back is significantly reduced, meaning if you create an ad and put it in the newspaper or in a magazine, you're going to have to wait a period of days, weeks, maybe even months for your market to see your message and react or not react. Digital marketing, on the other hand, well, you can create an ad and put it out to your market in as little as a few hours and get immediate response, letting you know if you're on track or if something needs to be changed. Alright, so now that we've got all that covered, what are some of the most effective digital marketing strategies available today? Well, when it comes to digital marketing, there's no shortage of available strategies. No shortage of opinions that goes along with each of those strategies either. Social media gurus say you need to be using more social media. Email marketing advocates preach the benefits of reaching your customers directly in their email inbox. Video marketing experts say everybody needs to be creating more videos. And online advertisers tell you that the best return on investment is with online ads. So, who's right? Well, in reality, they all are, because it's going to depend on your market, your message, and your media. Basically, we need to figure out who you're trying to reach, what the message is that you're trying to communicate, and which online or digital platform is going to be best aligned with you, your business, your industry, and your customers. Unfortunately, where many people get lost and confused is they take a look at all these different things, realize that they might all work, so they start doing everything. And one thing I can tell you with certainty, after years of being a digital marketing consultant and owning a marketing agency, is that you definitely do not need to do everything. In fact, most of your results are going to come from 1, 2, maybe even 3 carefully selected and strategically deployed channels at most. So to help you choose which one may be best for you and your business, these are some strategies we use inside the agency every single day for our clients and have proven to be some of the most effective forms of digital marketing available today. The first is, of course, social media marketing. You simply can't argue with the proven results that you're able to achieve with a strategically deployed social media marketing campaign. Now, there are nuances between how the campaign is deployed and how we're going to leverage it, but it really comes down to using one or a combination of Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn, depending on the market and depending on the client and their customers. Regardless, having a social media presence today is pretty much mandatory, and doing the best you can will provide a real and tangible return on investment. The other strategy that we consistently use is online advertising. Again, most of the social media platforms do have the option to use both organic social media, which means unpaid or just regular posting content, as well as paid online advertising, where you're basically paying them for distribution. Again, we take a look at the market and essentially what we're trying to get across, and then make a strategic decision between Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and the Google Display Network. As a fun fact, some of our highest ROI campaigns have almost always come from social media online advertising. Yeah, it can be a bit of a bear to learn when you're first getting started and can be a bit of a trick to figure everything out, but once you've got it dialed in, it's a really powerful concept. The other strategy we almost always deploy, and certainly with our local clients, is search engine optimization, or SEO for short. Basically, if you're unfamiliar with SEO, it involves optimizing the website to appear higher in the search rankings, so when someone's typing in a search term, your business appears top of the line. Alright, so now that we've got all that covered, the next thing you're going to want to do is check out the original version of this video I've got linked up right here. It's short, but it's one of the most popular videos on my channel and provides another perspective on what digital marketing is and how it all works. So make sure to check that one out now. And thanks so much for watching. And
Okay, so that was just kind of the short and sweet digital marketing. Any questions so far? I know all of you are thinking in your mind, we're all subject to digital marketing, whether we realize it or not. Ads pop up on your iPhone, ads pop up on your Android, on your computer. Everywhere you look, you're being bombarded, with all kinds of digital marketing. So the question is, how do you get the most bang for your buck? A lot of digital marketing is free. So that's how people just think the more is better. But sometimes it becomes downright irritating, some ads that just keep showing up. So there's a happy medium. Okay, so what we're going to talk about now is the PowerPoint. We're going to hit the high points and, maybe do a little emphasis on things you really need to think about. Now, remember, I only have one screen, so I don't know if you have your hand up. So if you have a question while we're going through it, holler out. I never mind you asking me stopping me and asking me a question. All right, so let me share the PowerPoint. Okay, so marketing in the digital age. Again, this is going to be one of the most important things. You'll be seeing a lot of this when you start working. As I've said before in this class, that when you're new on the job, a lot of times, especially if you're young and hip and, most of you are into some type of social media. Very few of you, I'm sure, do not have a social media presence. So your company is probably going to assume that you're almost an expert at some of these things, whereas a lot of people that have been there a long time may not be. So a lot of things may land in your lap, that maybe you weren't completely prepared for. So it's a good idea to have some good information. All right, as you look at this, the first thing the book talks about is a digital disruption being felt across all industries. Now, examples of that are, for instance, in the financial area, there were in 2018, I can't even talk. 2018 bank branch closures reached a new high. In 2015, 1,251 bank branches closed. Now, you know what bank branches, you know, these are the branches that you see, just not the main bank, but they may be showing up at Target, or they may be showing up at the grocery stores or different places. Walmart usually has one in there that makes it convenient for people to do their banking. And so in 2015, there were 1,251 that were closed. In 2018, an additional 1,947. Now, I can't see you, but can anybody just kind of holler out and tell me, why do you think that these bank branches closed? What do you think the reason was is related to digital? Anybody?
The mobile banking apps?
You're right. You have hit the nail on the head. It is much easier to take a picture of your check and send it in via your phone, or however you're going to do it, whatever digital way you do it, than it is to go to the store, you know, park your car, go to the bank, and even if you're already in that store, you know, there's probably a line. So why bother if you can do it digitally? Additionally, less people are actually going into the stores, because all the stores are now, due to COVID, all the stores are offering curbside, or not all of them, many of them are offering curbside. And so a lot of people would just prefer to do their shopping online and then just go pick it up and wait in their car while somebody nicely brings it to you and puts it in the back seat. And I'm one of those people. In fact, I ran into one of my students at Sam's the other day who is working there. You know, it's so easy. Sam's, Costco doesn't do it. Sam's does. I have memberships at both, but guess where I go most often? I go to Sam's, because I don't want to park my truck and get out and go in. Of course, part of that is that the parking lot at Costco is unbelievable and very difficult to find a space big enough to put my truck in. And so it's just much easier for me to, even though Costco's like maybe half a mile from my house. So it's just much easier to go where somebody will bring it out to you. And I do the same thing at the grocery stores. In addition, people have found it saves them money, because if you're in the grocery store shopping, you do a lot of impulse buying. Whereas if you're doing it online, you just get what you need and then you go pick it up. So absolutely, it has to do with the, you know, the ability to do it all online. In the entertainment industry, it has digital information has really changed the entertainment industry. Back when Blockbuster, I don't know if y'all may remember Blockbuster, but y'all were quite young. Blockbuster were DVD stores that you could go in and you could rent DVDs, and you could get them for, usually it was, I think, 3 days, and like, I don't know, $2 or $3 for 3 days or something like that. Then if you didn't return them on time, you got tagged with all kinds of fees for returning them late. And so what happened was that an entrepreneur from a Silicon entrepreneur was so irritated by the fact that he had 40 late fees from Blockbuster that he created Netflix. And Netflix literally knocked Blockbuster out of the park. Another one is, it's called Red something, I can't remember, but it's the ones that are these video machines that are like vending machines outside of Redbox. Thank you. Yeah, that you don't see those as much anymore either, because people typically would rather stream it. And Netflix was the, you know, back in early 2000s, Netflix made its way to the scene, and now is, you know, Netflix is also, you know, shares its type of information with Hulu and all these other ones that have literally gotten rid of the DVD rentals. And for a lot of times, it's gotten rid of DVD purchases also. People now purchase they just purchase it from Amazon or wherever and stream it all the time. Now, I still am a little bit old school. I still will purchase a DVD if I really like it, because I'm always of the mind that Frontier or whatever streaming service I'm using at the moment might decide not to work, and then I have nothing, and I am a TV addict. So, but for the most part, especially your generation, you don't buy the hard copy of anything. You don't buy CDs. You don't buy DVDs. You know, you buy the stream version. You can get one song something popped up there. You can get one song for 99 cents instead of buying a whole CD that might have one good song on it. So your generation does a whole different way of shopping. I've got a message here. Yeah, I love this. Adrian says, rest in peace, Blockbuster. So true. They filed for bankruptcy in 2010 and they are gone. And they weren't the only one. There were others, Movies to Go and a number of other stores in the heyday of DVDs. So digital streaming, period, everything digital has really disrupted people who were born or who lived maybe 45, 40, 50 years ago. They would, if you brought them back right now, they would have no idea what was going on, you know, because that might have even been before DVDs, you know. I can date myself a little bit and tell you that I remember when color TV became popular. So, you know, things are changing very, very rapidly. And then when you look at the hospitality industry, another one that has been majorly changed by digitalization. At one time, there were travel agencies all over the place. You know, when I owned my engineering company, I never booked airline tickets. I never booked anything like that myself. I called my travel agent, told her where I wanted to go, when I needed to get there, and she would do the package for me, and then I would just go and actually physically pick it up from her for my employees or whoever happened to be needing tickets or hotels or whatever it happened to be. So you were really, you really had no choice but to do it through the travel agents. They had all the ins and outs. Whereas you could do it by phone, you could call yourself to American or Delta or whoever it happens to be, but you didn't get all these package plans. You weren't able to look and see who had the best deal unless you called each one individually. And that was extremely time consuming. And Christina shared with us the VHS, which you are so right. I'm sitting here looking at a machine I have on top of my TV that was for transferring VHS to DVDs. Now the DVD recorder doesn't even work anymore for what stuff I record from TV because they've got some kind of a signal blocking your ability to record. So you're absolutely right. VHSs are long gone. So there's many different things, in hospitality completely changed. There's a few travel agencies left, but for the most part, you know, and then some have kind of stepped up to the plate, like American Express. If you have, you can use American Express and they'll set it all up for you, but you know, that's like a travel agency, but it's still digital. You know, you don't go pick up anything. Everything comes to you by email. So same, and that's kind of the same. That's the same kind of thought with travel agents, hospitality with hotels, anything, whatever it happens to be. Everything is now done more digitally. Questions so far or comments? Okay. All right. Where aren't you going? All right. So the new digital landscape. Give me 1 second. My computer's acting up. Let's see. I have two computers going here and they're giving me trouble. Okay, so as you're looking at the new digital landscape, there's an array of digital tools that are available, particularly in the area of managing your health conditions. There's a picture in your textbook, which I think is really great. I could not find it to show it up here on the screen. But if you looked either on your textbook or digitally, whatever you happen to have, it's on page 374. And it talks about all the different ways that digitalization is being used in healthcare. It's got like a number of pictures. It shows consumer wearables. It shows, you know, biometric devices, in-home connected virtual assistants. These are just a few of them. Text messaging, email. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they only see their doctor via Zoom. And you know, so there's a number of ways that it's completely changed our world. Now, a lot of this was given a boost by COVID, because no one wanted to go into doctor's offices. So everyone was looking for ways to avoid that, but still get the care that they were looking for. So, you know, there's just all kinds of things that are changing, and we have to change with it. And particularly with the younger generation coming in, which is y'all, you have to figure out how you can use these different mechanisms to assist you in whatever area you're working in. So these are just a few of the ones where there's things available, like managing health conditions, diagnosing clinical problems. All this can be done, you know, via digitalization, believe it or not. Emailing, providing physicians with access to medical records. I remember when EHR was just first coming in, and there was a lot of opposition to it, you know, the HIPAA law, fears of things happening to those records while they were floating around in the internet, and you know, kind of in never land. But now, you know, it's the way people do it, and it's so much easier. In the old days, you know, if you needed your records, a lot of times you had to go to the hospital and get the records to transfer to a specialist or whatever it happened to be. You would get given the runaround. You know, you would go somewhere and they say, well, you have to go to this office, and you get there and they're at lunch, or they're like, oh no, you have to go to this office. It might take hours sometimes to get your records. Now you can get them at the push of the button. And it also allows the patient to have more transparency. You know, you actually own your health records now. They're not this big dark secret that they used to be. I remember when they used to keep the records at the foot of the bed, but you were not supposed to look at them. They were just for doctors and nurses' eyes. You know, so now you have more ability to control your own destiny. You get to look at the actual results. So the hard copies, you know, for the most part, are just not around. They're around, but they're just not used as much anymore. Then there was this law, Moore's Law, and it was named after the founder of Intel. He recognized that transistors were shrinking so fast that you could fit twice as many onto a chip. And this led to the wearable health devices. You know, your watches, your all these different things that you can wear now that give you instantaneous information on your health. Okay, any questions? We're doing good. Any comments? I don't see anything in the chat, so it looks like it's okay. Now, you have to look at the value for the patient-driven value, because now patients have a choice. And some of the things that we look at are patient empowerment. You can manage your own health. You can see what's going on. You can, you know, there's none of this kept secret anymore. Patients don't stand for it anymore. You have they call it democratization of information. And basically what that means is, you probably should remember that word, is that patients have more access to all the information on their care, their diagnosis, and discussions. It's not only available to just their doctors. And you own your data, because you can get to it. I was helping someone the other day get some information on their mother, and it's not even a lot of times handled through the actual hospital anymore. The hospital third parties it out to like these central data holding people. And they're the ones, these third parties, that actually have control of your data. So, because the hospitals a lot of times don't have the capability or the manpower to keep all that digital information just on their site. So if it's at a central location, it's easier to disperse. Then you've got the access to healthcare 24/7. I've talked about this in some, I don't think I've talked about this in this class, but you know, they have now companies that have doctors on call, and you can, you know, use them. It's via Zoom, but it may be your regular doctor. But when your regular doctor closes, let's say you're in California and or let's say you're in Texas and your doctor closes at 5 o'clock, you can still get a doctor without paying the late night fees or whatever it happens to be. You can still get a doctor in California via Zoom for 3 more hours before 5 o'clock. So basically, you know, you have 24/7 access, which you did not have before without going to an emergency room. And the price competition. You're able, when you have access to all this information, you're able to see the best possible way for you as far as the costs. And I know a lot of times we don't think of costs in healthcare, but sometimes it is something you have to consider. So the patient journey is the path of awareness of conditions. Wait a minute, someone have my other computer. The conditions about their symptoms and seeking help, obtaining care, treatment, hopefully behavioral change, and proactive health care. So, you know, you look at medical apps that can warn you. You look at, you look at products that might promote general wellness. There's all these different things that can help the patient along the way if they're willing to take that step. And this just shows the customer journey actually in a chart or a figure where you look at all the different ways you can use the digital help. You know, you've got wearable apps, you've got telemedicine apps, apps that you can go online, apps for treatment, and smart home apps. So there's all these different things that were never available before recent times. So as we look at, one second, I don't know why I'm having difficulties here today. All right, one thing, I'm going to back to the chart and just tell you that there was a survey done of 1,000 people, fairly large survey, and what they discovered was that 45% of the people they surveyed owned a fitness band, 12% owned smart clothing, 27% owned a smartwatch, and 15% owned smart glasses. So all that information is out there and people are using it. Okay, so as we look at all these, the wellness and prevention, symptoms and onset, seeking care, and deciding what your alternatives are, the majority of apps are for health and prevention. You have apps for exercise, apps for, you know, counting your daily intake of calories, apps for, you know, all these different things, you know, apps for how far you're walking, apps for all these various things. But the majority are for health and prevention. They're not for the actual diagnosis, but they are out there. Now, just as an aside to tell y'all that there's nothing new under the sun. Back in 1924, they actually had a radio doctor, believe it or not. There was a magazine article about it, and you know, it never did really come to fruition, but they were already talking about calling into the radio, you know. So this is not new. This is just much more sophisticated. And what studies show is that ages 35 to 49 are most likely to 35 to 49 are most likely to own smartwatches, regardless of their age, their ethnicity, or their gender, and a multitude of aptitudes. So 35 to 49%. Then it also says that 80% have researched or even recommended providers, you know, using the internet. So there's there's mobile platforms for diagnosis, and you can do electrocardiograms with iPads, and I've even seen them for iPhones lately advertised on TV, that you can do that kind of thing. Then one of the most recent things that it's being used for is crowdsourcing. You know, on the Shark Tank, they talk about crowdsourcing for funding things. Well, in this sense, the book talks about crowdsourcing for doctors to have collective wisdom. So you get all this information into one location, and then you can have a lot of different types of doctors look at it, and because what one may not know, another may have had experience with. So they call that crowdsourcing. A lot of people looking at a file and trying to make a diagnosis or trying to come up with a treatment plan. Used to, doctors might call a friend on the phone, or or might do something like that to get assistance, but now they actually have these platforms where doctors can talk to a number of experts in the fields, and that's called crowdsourcing. Okay, again, these are just more steps: diagnosing it on different platforms and then monitoring it. For years, they've had monitoring where they send you home with like this machine you put on yourself, and it calls the hospital if there's some sort of change in your heart rate or whatever it happens to be. But now it's all much more sophisticated and done via the internet, which is going to lead us into our topic in a few minutes about the Internet of Things. But there are still barriers to this remote learning, or this remote usage of information. And those barriers can include, what is the, are you actually getting the same clinical quality that you would be in face-to-face? Just 1 second, something, again, my other computer did a jump without my permission. Okay, so there's access to technology. There are still people who don't have the internet. Now, COVID-19 has done a lot to help that, because a lot of people that didn't have access to it were given free or very, very reduced rates for it, because mainly due to the schools and that and some to healthcare, but a lot due to the schools, so that everyone would have equal access. Patient engagement may be a little bit more difficult because you're not one-on-one, face-to-face. Some patients may find that difficult. The cost of devices, some of the things that you use are very expensive. They don't give iPads away or computers or anything else like that unless you get lucky and get in some kind of a program that does that. The clinical productivity. Now, what that's referring to is the training and learning new technology. All that takes time to incorporate it into healthcare. And then the infrastructure support. Is there support where whoever's doing this by all the levels of the infrastructure? Can they support? Do they have a high enough bandwidth? Do they support training people? All those different things that are necessary. Okay, then as you get beyond the patient journey, which is, searching for your, the transparency of information, and, looking for organizations that must respond to customers. The healthcare market is interconnected. And, once it gets out into the internet, excuse me, you don't have as much control. Once it leaves your organization, or once it's out there, just like I was telling you, that if you put something on the internet that you don't want somebody to see, it's out there. So you don't have as much control, over the message. And oftentimes marketers operate in a highly segmented space, which may be, for instance, a niche level, which may be something that is not that common, and so it may be difficult. Sometimes marketing and marketeers consider the digital balance sheet, and is it worth for the number of customers, and whether they're the correct customers. You can blast out a lot of stuff on the internet, but you're going to have a lot of people hearing it that aren't your target group. So are you really zeroing in and getting the attention of your target group? What everybody has to remember is it's not just the number of hits, but the number of hits from your target market. And I think I told this group about it in Las Vegas, how they would advertise the different wedding chapels, and then one wedding chapel was having their employees go and just keep clicking on other wedding chapel site. And so they were having to pay for all these hits when they really were not their target group at all. So how much money are you spending and not really getting to your target group? which is another thing you really have to think about. You need to be also careful of protecting your brand. I know a lot of you have had the experience of clicking on something on the internet that is a brand that looks like what you're looking for, but then as you read more into it, you see that it's not that at all. They've changed that brand logo or that information or whatever it happens to be just enough to not catch it, you know, and then you might get scammed or you might buy an inferior product or what it happens to be. So you need to be sure you protect your brand. And they gave an example in the book of a Dr. Birch who was being sued by Dr. Dre, who is the rapper, for infringement of his trademark because their names were so similar. And there's two ways that the main ways that there's infringement takes place. One is called cyber squatting. And that's where you register with the intent to profit from the other's goodwill. And that means, you know, like one company has really goodwill, has built up a great reputation, and you register something very similar to it, and you're able to profit from their good reputation because you look so similar. Now, in 1999, there was an anti-cyber squatting privacy act put into place, but you know, again, you have to spend the money and you have to chase it down. You have to know what's going on. The other thing is it's called keying, K-E-Y-I-N-G. And that's when people deliberately buy advertising space within the search results of the trademark name. For instance, let's say you're searching for, Kaiser Hospital Services. And then perhaps some other small hospital, I don't know of any small, or let's say maybe a urgent care center, just buys space, advertising space that pops up in Google every time somebody searches for Kaiser. So that's actually riding on somebody else's. That's a really broad one because, you know, not one that would probably happen, but that's kind of a broad example of what could happen. You know, moreover, it might happen with something like another company that makes products that are very similar, and you'll pop up with something that is not an OEM original manufacturer product because they bought advertising space, and you pop into it thinking it's part of the same link that you had just searched for. Okay. Now, I'm going to stop a minute and show y'all a video or a YouTube on the Internet of Things, because it's really important that you understand this for not only for healthcare purposes, but also for just your daily lives. So give me 1 second to switch screens here and pull that up, and hopefully it is here. Of course it's not, so give me 1 second to pull it up in a different area. You know, I had these open ahead of time, and I'm not sure why it is giving me so much trouble today. All right. All right. Okay, hopefully we got it now.
Desktop, tablet, or smartphone. But now, with IoT, practically all appliances can be connected to the internet and monitored remotely. IoT is shaping the way we live our lives. It helps us get a better insight into the working of things around us. So, what exactly is the Internet of Things? IoT is a system of interrelated devices connected to the internet to transfer and receive data from one to the other. A smart home is the best example of IoT. Home appliances like the AC, doorbell, thermostats, smoke detectors, water heaters, and security alarms can be interconnected to share data with the user over a mobile application. The user can now get detailed insight into the working of the devices around him. Think about it. Until recently, the internet helped people connect and interact with each other. But now, inanimate objects or things have...
Okay, are y'all seeing that? Anybody?
The video I don't think is playing.
Okay, let me do
I
this
can see
again.
the vid, well, it just paused, but I've been watching it until it stopped.
Okay, all right, let me try it again then and see if it, see what's going on with this. I'm not sure what's going on. Give me 1 second. Let's see. Something's crazy here. Okay, I'm gonna try to start again. Y'all let me know if y'all aren't seeing it. Let's see. If I can get to it, doesn't want to let me in. I'm glad y'all can still hear me because I seem to be having a lot of problems here. Let's see. Okay, one more time, see if it works.
transfer and receive data from one to the other at work. A smart home is the best
example. Oh my
example to turn
gosh.
off the air conditioner while leaving your...
For some reason, it's showing, giving y'all two at once, and I have no idea why. Let me just completely get everything out of here. I may have to give up on this if I'm having this much trouble. Let's see.
Process the information collected from the sensors
Okay, are
and
y'all
transfer
seeing
it
it?
to the cloud. The cloud acts as both the storage and
Yes.
processing unit.
Okay, super.
Actions are performed on the collected data for further learning and inferences. Wired and wireless interfaces like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Zigbee, GSMs, and so on are used to provide connectivity. To ensure its ubiquity, applications need to support a diverse set of devices and communication protocols, from tiny sensors capable of sensing and reporting the desired factor to powerful back-end servers that are utilized for data analysis.
There it went again.
Every time the moisture level in the soil drops. Instead of doing it manually, you could automate it using IoT. The sensors and actuators installed gauge the soil for its moisture. This information is sent to the IoT gateway with the help of communication protocols like MQTT or HTTP. The gateway significantly aggregates data and feeds it to the cloud with the help of Wi-Fi LAN. Once the moisture level drops, the system is immediately triggered and the sprinklers are turned on. However, with the information stored in the cloud, a detailed analysis like the time of the day the sprinkler was turned on, the rate at which the moisture in the soil reduces, and so on, can be done, and the report could be sent over to you on your smartphone over an app. With the improved response, monitoring, and analytical capabilities, IoT is being adopted in almost all industries and domains, opening doors to endless applications. Today, IoT is being used extensively to lessen the burden on humans. To name a few, IoT is deployed for smart homes, wearables, watches and bracelets, smart cars, smart farming, smart retail, smart grids, smart city, and smart healthcare. With such a wide spectrum of applications, the future of IT looks more promising than ever before. In 2018, there were about 23 billion connected devices, which was more than double the world population. According to experts, there will be over 80 billion devices by 2025. IoT is a vision to connect all devices with the power of the internet, always learning and always growing. Now that you have a picture of what IoT is, here's a simple question for you. Which of the following technologies is not used as an interface for a network? 1. Wi-Fi. 2. Ethernet. 3. Zigbee. 4. VPN. Give it a thought and leave your answers in the comment section below. 3 lucky winners will receive Amazon gift vouchers. The integration of IoT with other technologies like cloud computing, machine learning, and artificial intelligence is paving the way for many new and exciting innovations. And that is the Internet of Things for you in short.
Okay. All right. So that just gives you an idea. Now we can think of all kinds of things that now are connected by the internet. You know, I think one of the most incredible ones is that you can connect to your phone to your house. You can let people in your house when you're not even home. There's, all kinds of things now that are connected to the internet. Now, as far as using it in healthcare has also been using all these different things that are connected to the internet, and more every single day. So let me get back to where we were at. Okay, so if you look at this is the chart showing all the different ways that are out there floating around on the cloud, via whatever mechanism it is to take to get it to the cloud, Bluetooth and, your doctors, your computers, your pharmaceutical needs, all these different things are connected, interconnected to the cloud, which was never done before. Everything, in the grand scheme of things, services should be a lot better with all this connectivity. There is a potential for greater cost savings for sure, because, if you mechanize it, but that also knocks out some of the, the people in the middle, but there is a potential for greater cost savings. You're able to deliver individual specific messages, but we also have to kick back to what are some of the concerns. And these concerns you will find particularly out there with, maybe the older generations who really don't feel that great, about sending all their information out there into outer space, because they really don't understand, where it might be and where it might land. So you have cybersecurity has to be top notch, and you have to guarantee privacy. And all the information, like when you're doing your different things with the Navigate to, the LearnScape activities that you've done, usually that's always at the crux of in almost every scenario, privacy is an issue, because people are concerned about that. Okay, so I don't know if I was even sharing that with you at that point, but at any rate, that's kind of the PowerPoint for today. That covers most of the information. The Internet of Things is really important. I can't tell you how important that is, and how important that you're sure that your company is maintaining security, that the people you're dealing with, when you're doing marketing, you need to assure the people, your target group, that security is of utmost importance to you. Because there are breaches, we hear about them every day. You get information, your Visa's been breached, or your Neiman Marcus card has been breached, or whatever it happens to be. I heard that one on the news not too long ago. So, there are breaches all the time, because for every single security message, there's some hacker that's making his mission to get through to it. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in today. Okay, do we have any questions about anything we've talked about today, or any comments? Anybody had a personal experience with me in having security breached and all the misery it caused you? No? Okay. All right, so here's what I'm going to do then. I'm going to open up the 5 breakout rooms, and you do not have to come back here. to the main room afterwards, but I will pop in to see if y'all have any questions, and y'all can self-select into those breakout rooms. And I'm going to stop the recording now because I don't need that.